Was me telling my story. I was young, I was scared to speak, and I was nervous, I was shy, I was so many emotions. Started my channel of what I've been through, and I want to help other people. And my uncle, I didn't want to think about it because of how hard it was for me to even grasp the fact that my favorite uncle did something so horrendous to me. It's Uplifting Others. Hey, it's Uplifting Others. If you're new here, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, hey, Uplifters. Hello, my name is Janae. I'm also known as Uplifting Others on here. I want to retell my story. I've told my story before when I first started my YouTube channel, but I want to tell it from a healed place, or more of a healed place. I'm not fully healed, but I feel like I'm in a much better space. When I told that story for the first time, it was like me being scared, nervous, so many emotions, and I feel like I want to tell my story again. So like I said, my name is Janae. I'm now 30 years old. When I was around maybe 7 or 8, even 9, I don't remember, because when I realized, or I've learned, that when you go through trauma, you forget a lot of things. Even certain parts of your childhood that you should remember, you don't remember. Well, I know that goes for me. So my mom, I'm gonna just get to the point, and I'm trying not to, I don't know why I'm nervous. I've been making videos for 4 years now, and I'm nervous. So I'm not gonna, I don't know if I'm gonna edit a lot of this out, because I want to be raw emotions and all that stuff, but we'll see. So one night my mom, well, we were already asleep. Me and my brother were already asleep on the couch, whatever. And my mom had asked my uncle to watch me. Mind you, this uncle was my favorite uncle. My mom trusted him enough to watch me, or watch us, and he was my favorite. So my mom had left out, and my uncle was watching us, and he argued me. I used to use the word, or I've heard people use the word molestation and all that stuff, and I feel like that's just the tip of the iceberg when you say molestation. And yeah, I feel like that just doesn't give it as much, and not importance, but as much meaning behind, for me, behind it. So he argued me, pretty much I was on a different couch than my brother, but he was on the next couch, and he argued me right there. And I was in so much shock, I didn't know what was going on, that I didn't say I didn't scream, I didn't say anything, I didn't cry. It was like I was in a state of shock. And I remember when it was over, he wanted to, of course, make things go away, pretty much. Oh, don't say anything, I'll give you some money when I get paid. Oh, go change, blah, 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 blah. It was all those things, and it was things were happening it was happening fast, but it was it was happening slow motion for me. My mind and my body couldn't keep up. And I'm remembering that now as I'm telling the story. And I remember I was trying to look for clothes, and I couldn't find my clothes. It was everything that I was picking up was not mine. I knew where my clothes were kept, and it was I could not find my clothes. And it was I couldn't get it together. And by the time my mom was coming back, I still wasn't in where I was supposed to be at, in bed, on the couch, sleep. So it was when she was coming in, I was coming to the living room, and instantly she knew that something was wrong. And she went to, "Did your uncle touch you?" And I was I froze up. I didn't know what to say. And it's like she knew. She knew. And she checked me, and it was evidence there that I was touched. I ended up going to the hospital, and I got examined and all that stuff, asked questions, the whole 9 yards. And that night was like super, just like out of body moment. It was out of body, like I wasn't even there. And I remember when I was in the car, we was in the car because my mom didn't want to stay at the house that it happened. So I can remember my dad being next to me, and it was like a whole bunch of cop cars and all that stuff, and like he just put my head like in his chest or whatever. And it was like after that night, nobody talked about it. When I mean nobody talked about it, nobody mentioned it. Only time that it was mentioned when I had to go to school to get my work, and I didn't go to school for I don't know how long. That's how bad it was. And now that I am in my healing journey, and I'm 30 years old, about to be 31 in a few days, I know that trauma can last a lifetime. It's just how we have to navigate through it, and how I've navigated through it. My uncle went to prison for what he did to me. He was supposed to do 20 years. I don't know how long. I think he did like most of that time. So I was thankful for that, but I was still reminded of him when I walked in certain family members' houses and they had pictures of him in prison. And certain family members treated me differently because of what happened to me. Like it was, I'm the victim, but it was like I was wrong. My mom was wrong for getting him in trouble. And I kind of felt that. And certain family members really didn't speak to me, or if they did, it was fake. And I'm now realizing that I feel like family members just dealt with me because of my mom. My mom is, of course, like loving. She'll give you her last. And I feel like that's the only reason why certain family members would deal with me, in a sense. So, like I said, he spent a long time in prison, which he should have spent the rest of his life in there, if you ask me, because you take someone's innocence, you are in someone, or you molesting someone, I feel like you should spend the rest of your life in prison. But it speeded up when I was like maybe 20-something years old. Maybe, I don't remember. But I think it was in my 20s. He was released from prison. And I'm like, of course I was scared. I didn't know how I was going to act when I saw him. Like, I didn't know what I would do, what I would say, anything. I just prayed about it. And it was like everything went back to normal for certain family members. Like, oh, like he never did anything. Like, they forgot all about it. And I guess it's because people have the mindset of, if it's not my child, then I don't care. That's still my uncle, cousin, friend, brother. Like, that's how they looked at it, and that's how I perceived it. And he would go to like certain family members' houses that were close to where I lived at. So he would be in the neighborhood. And I'm just like, what the heck? Like, why people think this is okay? Like, why is people accepting him so fast back into the family? But like, people didn't care because it wasn't them or their kids. And I remember he started eventually coming to my house. And I don't know what the conversation was between like him, my dad, and my mom, but he started coming to the house or whatever. And I didn't say anything about it. Because I didn't want to express my feelings, for one. I didn't want to be starting anything because I didn't know. It's so many things was going through my head that why I didn't speak up for myself. And I realized that I really did more harm to myself than good by allowing him back into my space. So But to rewind that a little bit, the first time I seen him was when I was working at at a store. I'm not going to say the store, but I was working at a store, and he came in, and I'm like, what the heck? Like, why is he in here? Like, so nobody told him that I worked at this place. Like, no one, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know, but it was like my body instantly got hot. And the first time, like, I'm going to be real honest, like, if I said this to myself, or maybe I said it to other people, like, when I see him, I'm going to spit in his face for what he did to me. And, like, yes, that's nasty, but you did something like that to me, so why can't I do something like that? Like, why can't I do, that's the minimum thing to do when you took my innocence. But, so he came in the store, and I was, like, the only one working the cash register. And he got in my line, and I remember he asked for cigarettes. It was so many people in the store that day. Like, my body was hot and I was shaking. Like, that's how bad it was. And I was trying to act like everything was okay. Rung him up, got him out of there, and I'm just like, what the heck? Like, why was he in here? Like, nobody told him that I worked here. That's how, like, and I didn't really think about that at first, but then when I got older and I'm trying to heal, so you gotta, like, you have to, like, unpack all the stuff that you've been through and all the stuff that really didn't make sense back then. And that's what I'm doing. And as I'm doing this, I'm like, so he really didn't know that I worked where I worked at, or did he really know? And he was coming in there to like intimidate me type of situation. So that was that. That's the first time I seen him after all those years after he arted me. So eventually, like, I'm getting back into, well, I started going to church, and I started building a relationship with God, and I really was just focusing on and at the time I really didn't think of it as me starting my healing journey, to be honest with you. But it was one Sunday when my pastor was talking about forgiveness, and it really touched my heart. Like, I'm not the type to, like, want to do something because somebody's telling me to do something. I have to want to do it myself. So after that, after church, I wrote him a letter. I don't remember what the letter said, but I know it was on the lines of, like, I'm forgiving you for me, and it's not for you at all. Like, what you did was messed up. I don't remember the letter at all. It's so crazy. And a family member or a family friend had read it to him, or whatever the case was, and that was that. And eventually he started coming around more and more and more and more, and it was like, okay, like, I know I forgave him, so do everybody think that it's cool now? But I didn't speak up. I'm telling you this for any survivor of incest, abuse, any type of abuse, or anybody that goes through anything. You don't have to allow someone back in your space after you forgive them. And you don't have to forgive someone that has hurt you. I'm just putting that out there. This is just me and my story. So he started coming around more and more and more. And I realized, like I'm miserable, kind of. Like, I'm just dumbing myself down to make sure that everybody else is happy when I'm not really happy. And he is the type of person that once in a while would say some slick stuff, like nothing like sexual, but it would be like, oh, I'm in the prison, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, why did you go to prison? Like, what are you talking about? You ain't go to prison for killing someone. Not saying that's okay. Anything, like something you went to prison for, hurting a child, that child being your niece. Weird. But I stopped wanting to be around to him. And that was for the best. Like, that's when I feel like my healing really started, when I separated myself from the people that really didn't care about me. Meaning, like, people that think it's okay. I'm not saying they think it's okay. Like, I can't even say they don't think it's okay, because if you allow someone that has hurt another person back in that fast and that easy, like nothing happened, that means you really don't care. And when I first made my first video about this, like 4 or 5 years ago, and I told my story, like people were like, oh, I'm so proud of you, oh, blah 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 blah. But I know for a fact that people were just saying that for social media. They weren't proud of me. They probably were saying, why is she talking about that? That's old. It happened a long time ago. And now me being in the space of my healing that I'm in, I really don't care what people think. I don't care if I would see him today, tomorrow, and walk past him. Like, that's just that, you know, like, I don't know, like, I'm gonna tell this, and I don't know if I don't know if I'm gonna leave it in here. When I really realized, like, I had to just cut certain people off is when I was in a space with him, at one point in time with him, other family. I'm not gonna really go into too many details, but he had called me a fat B, right? He had called me a fat B, and for anyone that knows, like, when people have gone through trauma, you go to different things to cope. And people go to drugs, alcohol, food. And my thing has always been food. I'm an emotional eater. And I thank God that I'm not at that space anymore, that I just eat on emotions. Like, yeah, I thank God for that. But he had called me a fat B, and I said, and why am I a fat B? You R'd me. And one of my other uncles was like pretty much saying, oh, it's okay, it's okay. A lot of people do that. What? What? And that's when I knew, like, people really didn't care, or people don't care that it happened to it don't, I can't, how should I say it? People don't care if it's not them or their loved ones, like, that's close to them. And it hurt me, but at the same time, it helped me. You know, like, it helped me with my healing. It has helped me with my healing to realize that people are not for me, and that's okay. And when I talk about, oh, you know, like family situations or distancing yourself from certain situations, certain family, certain friends, people probably just think that I'm just antisocial and I don't know how to be around people, or I don't want to be around people. Is that I won't allow my peace to be disturbed. I won't allow someone to get me out of character. And if I do get out of character, I have to be really mad, to be honest with you. Yeah, like, I feel like God called me to start my YouTube channel and to share my testimony to help other people. And that's just what I'm doing, is trying to help other people. It's not hard. I say it's not hard. It's hard to talk about my trauma. It's hard to talk about situations dealing with family. It's hard to talk about stuff like this because people don't want to talk about it. People want to sweep things under the rug and be mad at the victim, or not want to have a relationship with the victim. But they can accept. I don't know, y'all. Is this? I don't know. But I can honestly say that everything that I went through thus far in my life has made me stronger, and it has helped me be the best me that I can be. And I can be empathetic. I can be understanding. And I feel like I can always be the shoulder to cry on type of person, because I just want people to feel like they're loved and people care, and that someone at least care about them. And I love being a safe place for people that will allow me to. But I don't want to go on and on about it. This is my story. I lived it. It's my truth. This is my testimony. And no one can change it. No one can hush me. No one can tell me to be quiet about it, because I went through it and not anyone else. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe.